Leadership. With great power comes great responsibility. The general of our army of Cyrodiilic warriors is given the responsibility and authority to execute a battle plan and to preserve his forces. To do this he needs the help of group leaders that are both loyal and capable. That is where you come into the picture if you feel you could do the job. We are looking to train new group leaders. This is how it works. The general is the head of the army and he can take many different forms. He can be one of the leaders operating his group as well as the whole army. This is possible when his group leaders know their job well. Or he can also be a separate player who is tied to no immediate group and just roving the field. He also can be a non-playing leader who issues his instructions from the safety of headquarters. The style of generalship is up to the individual and there is no set hard fast rules. Leadership structure. The structure of leadership is quite simple. At the head, we have our general. All authority and responsibility begins and ends with the general. Under the general are the 5 group leaders, the skirmishers, raiders, siegers, scouts, pugs. Each group leader reports directly to the general and group leaders have no authority to command each other's groups. Under each group leader is their followers. These followers are responsible to their group leader only and do not take orders from other group leaders or other followers in their own group. However, this is still just a game and the loyalty of players is voluntary and usually earned over time and through experience. In real life, loyalty is commanded by the fear of punishment for mutiny. The worst we can do is kick rebels from the group. So we try not to be too officious with our authority and hope that obedience is maintained through the spirit of the game and in the interest of having a good time. After all, our guild is a social guild and we play together because we enjoy each other's company. When that ceases to be the case, it is time to de-stress and take a break. This diagram shows the lines of authority and responsibility. If there is no connecting line between groups, then there is no flow of responsibility and authority. General Assembly. Pre-engagement routine. The general has several responsibilities before his army enters the field of battle. Set goals. The general must have some idea of what he or she wishes to achieve on the day. Roll call. He makes sure that all his leaders are present and accounted for. Battle orders. The general advises his group leaders of the plan. Missions and quests. The general selects the missions according to the battle plan and instructs the group leaders accordingly. Tabards. Normally we do not make a big deal of tabard wearing, but because we want to build a sense of teamwork, all players are encouraged to don our guild colors. Streaming. To participate in our activity you must agree to live streaming. The general selects a streamer for this job. Group leaders will need to double check within their group that permissions are granted. Filming. The general may call for a volunteer to film parts of a day's activities using OBS, Fraps or similar software. Discord. A sound channel will be assigned for each group as well as a pug channel if needed. Group assembly. Pre-engagement routine for group leaders. From time to time the leader will have to leave the DI score channel to report to the general or discuss tactics with other leaders in their channel. During this time the leader's group of followers will be left in the hands of the assistant leader, sometimes called the sergeant. The assistant can answer questions and help with preparation and make decisions. It is from here that new group leaders will come, whilst receiving their on-the-job training in the field of battle. Roll call. The group leader will report any shortfall or overflow of numbers to his general. Set goals. The group leader will pass on the game plan for the day. He will also make sure his team understands what this actually entails. The group leader makes sure his team has the correct missions and quests loaded on their character. Inventory space. Group leaders will ensure each member has sufficient inventory space so that they can get all the rewards at the end of the day. Potions and food check. Each player should have the appropriate potions and food for their part in the day's activities. Skill check. Each toon should have the correct skills for the job they are doing, mounted on their front and back bars. The leader would know what ones are best for their particular job. Weaponry. Leaders dual check with their group to ensure that the correct weaponry is loaded. Time should be taken to ensure that each player has the appropriate gear, shields, siege, forward camps and caltrops. If it cannot fit on the quick slot, then extras should be carried in their inventory. Riding speed. If any player does not have full riding speed, the leader should be made aware of this. Soul gems. A supply of resurrecting gems need to be carried by all. During this process, players may be split up between the two gates. They must regroup before going into the field of battle, so the leader should designate a rallying point for his team. Ready check. It is the leader's responsibility to ensure that his team is combat ready. To this end, he asks his team to report to him when ready. Sometimes there may be a delay in getting a character ready. This is why players are asked to get into Cyrodiil at least 15 minutes early. Last-minute instructions. Each group has a different role to play, and sometimes this cannot be decided until the state of the map is assessed on the day. Therefore, the last thing a group leader must do before taking his group to war is issue last-minute instructions and ensure that everyone understands their job and is capable of doing it. Report back. The group leader then reports back to the general that his team is sufficiently equipped, trained and numerically strong to engage the enemy. The words, "Group Combat Ready" signify this to the general. Group leaders have several skills that they need to master. The first is to understand the battle plan. This means being familiar with the map and knowing what is expected of his team. The second skill is communication. Leaders need to be able to explain the plan to their group using Discord. The third is to know how to delegate players to the combat tasks within the battle plan. The fourth is to command obedience to the plan by explaining the consequences of failure to follow the plan. This is better achieved if a leader knows his group by name and builds trust with them. The group leader will also need to make his team aware of his power to kick them from the group if they are unruly. The fifth is to be able to cooperate and communicate well with other group leaders. Off-event practice. Groups are large enough to be free-roaming and independent. However, if a group went rogue during an event and broke with the battle plan, the results would be disastrous for the rest of the team. This is not fair on the other players who are dependent on teamwork, and it is selfish in the extreme. This is a guild activity that required planning and cooperation, and players are required to participate as guild members. Therefore, any deviance from this during an event would be highly frowned upon. If a free-roaming group wishes to practice, then this should be done during non-event times. Free-roaming groups can engage before or after an event, but never during an event. In fact, practice groups during the week are encouraged as it helps build group experience and teamwork. I hope this will help you make your decision about what role you want to do during our Cyrodiilic adventures. Will it be the general, skirmisher, raider, siege, scout or pug administrator? Maybe you would like to start as an assistant group leader. If you want to know more, just ask the event coordinator or guild leadership. You should register your interest as soon as possible. Remember that you are not locked into one role or another and can try out different positions with each campaign. It is part of the leadership role to be able to understand the needs of each position, and this is what builds good generals. Good luck with your choice, and I'll see you on the battlefields of Cyrodiil.